the email part of it, who to email, when to email, what to respond. Like, is this okay to respond this? Or then I think the main thing is the highlight film. We have you know, a lot of film over, like, from club, as well as high school ball. I think her freshman year, the recording was not stellar compared to what we're used to with club ball. So that's all that she really has out there. So I think that from what she's responded already and the videos that coaches have been able to see, it's only freshman year. And so I think freshening up would be something that would be helpful. Because
Sure.
That's a little stressful as far as like, well, what do they want to see? Like, are they wanting to see what, you know, drills, or are they wanting to see her, you know, shots? But she does forward and center mid. So it's like, okay, which one do we go with, you know?
Yeah, super helpful. I'm definitely glad you brought that up. That's awesome. Let me ask your daughter this question. This is not an easy process, as you know, but we certainly want to help you if we think we can. My question to you is, why do you want to play college soccer? There's a lot of work for everybody. Why do you want to play college soccer?
I've been playing since I was 6-ish. So like, I feel like that'd be a lot of wasted if I stop now.
I like hearing that. Now, let me ask you this question. Let's pretend it's your senior year and it's your last competitive game that you'll ever get to play. Logistically, you could still play co-ed and pick up, but it will never be the same. It won't be part of a team that matters anyways. Does that sound utterly miserable? Or you're like, you know what? By senior year, I would have had enough soccer.
No, yeah, I'd definitely be upset for sure.
Okay. So my next question that we talk about often is, even as we're pursuing the best college soccer team that we can, I played college soccer, went on to play pro, and I found the hard way that, thank goodness, I got my master's degree per my mother's advice and went back to school. So I want to ask Mom, would you agree with me that even as we're looking for the right soccer team, academics are equal, if not more important?
Yes. Yeah. I think we often talk about, like we just talked about it this morning, and kind of trying to prep for the phone call. You know, even though Maddie isn't specific, like, as far as I'm aware, like, she's had thoughts as far as what she wants to do. But I think she kind of goes back and forth with that. And I think, like any kiddo at this age, they think like, I'm supposed to know what I'm wanting to do. I think it's important for her to be able to kind of go somewhere where she can figure it out. But that's very important for both of us.
Yes, very well said. Okay, super helpful. Now, given all that, we could just lock her in a closet and just focus on school. Why do you want to help her play college soccer? That's for Mom. Yeah,
I want to help her. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I think that it's kind of that's pretty emotional, I think, as a mom. Like she said, that's all she's ever done is play soccer. I'm sure that happens a lot with a lot of the kids that you talk to, but Maddie, the amount of dedication that she's poured into it, and the close friendships as well that she's had, has been something that I couldn't ever replace it. And so I think, and knowing her desire and her dream to play in college soccer, I'm just trying to help her achieve that. And because I know that obviously I'm really biased, but I think my kid's pretty badass, quite frankly. And if I didn't, I think that would be crazy. So I think that she's determined and she's absolutely capable. And when she went and played over the weekend for the ID camp, she's open to hearing constructive criticism from coaches and able to see the field very well. And she could absolutely hang with all the other girls, including the college girls that were already out there. It was like and again, I often say, like, I was a cheerleader. I was not a soccer player at all. But from the stands, it's like, holy crap, she like totally fits out there. And it's like all of her hard work's paying off. So I just want to be able to help wherever I can for her to achieve that.
Super helpful. Oh, super helpful. Thank you for that. And beautifully said. And I want to tell your daughter, you're very lucky to have a mom who supports you as such to help you play at the highest level we can. Given all that, what I kind of want to do is give my quote unquote diagnosis on your situation. Is that okay? Given all this, one of the things, obviously, I got to talk to Coach Howe and saw the video and everything. So I'll talk about that in a minute. One of the things you guys already know is we do have to fix the video. So when I look at video in general, I kind of put things in two categories. What will a college coach think of X video? And what level can they potentially play? So I want to say now that I think we have a lot of opportunity when it comes to the level we can play. I'll get into more detail about that in a minute. But you obviously know we're missing, something that we can show off. So saying all of those things, there's a couple things we need to do one way or another that I want to show you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is when we look to work with students, and Coach Howe will go through this with you in more detail soon enough, is if you would like him to, of course, is here is kind of what the stages are for where we are from what I see. The first thing I want to mention, it does concern me to some degree, that we aren't, say, further along in the process. Now, it doesn't mean we're too late by any means, but the reason I bring this up is girls particularly are recruited so much earlier than boys. If you're going to play college soccer, you'll be done before your senior year. Does that make sense? Okay. So we need phone calls. We need visits. We need all those things. This fall is kind of like your senior year, because next fall, going on visits next fall is considered very late. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So my alarm bells are going off to some degree, and I'm not trying to scare you, but I am trying to go, hey, this is important that we get moving. So stage one is video. Not only do we need one video, we need multiple videos, and that's part of our job. You saw the email system, I think, already. If not, I'll show it to you real quick. And this is where when Coach Howe was coming to me, he had obviously seen my posts and whatnot, and he was like, how are you being so successful? This is one of the things. So you mentioned field level. I don't want to say field level is bad, and I don't want to say that we won't use it if it's working. But 95% of the time, the coaches hate getting emails from any company. You can continue using it if you wish, but all emails must come from your own Gmail account. And that is what this system is. It logs in through your own account. This is the account I used once upon a time. And it will log into your own email so we can have all your emails, everything we have. But what makes it particularly unique is we will create a list of schools plus your own schools. And every time we have a showcase or we need to send out an updated video, we can go dear #coach, #genuine. We can insert your video. And when we do so, it will automatically put the coach's name. It will already say something genuine. And when they click on your video, it will provide a prompt and an image, which we find gives slightly better responses. So they can tell us, did they watch the video? Do you want more video? Do you want to get on a call with us? Do you no longer like us? Which we need to know so we can find our right schools. And then the system, which is very cool, and hence I'm proud that I got to build it, is the system will keep track of everything for us. Did you receive a genuine email? Was it a generic email? Did they invite us to an ID camp? How long did they watch the video for? Did they like the video? So on and so forth. So which allows us to kind of be more efficient, especially when, to be honest, we're in a bit of a time, I won't say crunch, but time conscious state. Does that make sense? Okay. Then we have to go to camps. You will have to go to camps, which you know, and how we go to those camps. You do not go to these camps cold. You should never go to a camp without sending video, because otherwise you're just one of many and you're depending on the coach to pick you, which is possible, but you're asking a lot, which is then to say, I know you've done a lot of work already through field level, and Coach Howe and I need to go through all those emails. And this is kind of what Coach Howe is saying is we can help you a lot on the field, which is you have the best scenario I've ever seen. You will be the first to have one of our coaches who also coaches you at the field. We have not had that happen before, which is just awesome. Most people just work through my team and we never see them in person. Because of that, your Mr. Coach Howe here will be able to, which will be super helpful, look at the emails you're receiving, tell you how to play better on the field, make better video, and help you send the emails. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which then brings us to this. We must narrow down our list. You have a list in mind, which I'd love to hear about. We have a list that we will share with you. And then we must get to this stage. Just because a bunch of boys like you, as an analogy, doesn't mean you like them. So we need to find out, who do you like? Who do you want to marry for 4 years? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever had a coach or a teacher you didn't like very much?
Yeah.
Would you like them to be your coach or teacher for 4 years in a row? He raised his hand.
Ew.
Oh, yeah.
teacher
Okay.
too. You don't like Coach Al? That's fair. Is given all that, we want to make sure that we're not in that experience. So I want you to ask Coach Howe and I want you to say, I'm going to ask your daughter, I want you to say, Coach Howe and Zev, what is your number one job?
Coach Howland said, what is your number one job?
Our number one job is to make sure you are happy. We want you to go to a school where you are safe. I know it sounds crazy, but if you guys saw that Hulu documentary on that horrible women's soccer coach, she talks about physically and emotionally abusing her players. We want to make sure that you love the environment and maybe so not too far away so your mom can come watch you and so that you can have an experience that you love. So given all of those things, this is why that's my job. Now, the reason I came to this conclusion is because I had such a great experience, and so did Coach Howe, with my college experience. I was the captain. I was, this captain by sophomore year. My coach was a great guy. My brother, on the other hand, had a horrible coach, and he had 2 hip surgeries and didn't play a single minute for 4 years, and that sucked. And it was not necessary. We could have he did get a lot of money, and that did blind us a little bit, and it was not worth the $15K. It would have been very well spent having him be happy. And we spent that on his hip surgeries anyways. So in hindsight, we wish that we would have picked a better school. So in saying that, I'm going to ask your daughter here for 2 seconds. I've been a little, not harsh, but maybe like eye-opening to say, look, we need to get moving. Have I managed to scare you away and make you want to quit?
Oh.
Okay, too bad for your mom and for Coach Howe. That would make things a little bit easier. Now, given that, one of the questions that Coach Howe and I get often, especially in Coach Howe's case, because he's worked in the college world, as have I, is can we directly connect you to schools? And the short answer is no. It is illegal for us to do so. Now, in Coach Howe's case, we'll have a unique development because he is your coach. That technically speaking, there is room for that. So we'll get into more detail. But I want to warn you, you cannot depend on Coach Howe or us to make calls on your behalf. It is illegal to do so. Instead, how our workaround is we want to make videos. So this is a girls coach saying, is this one of your students? She's playing at this level. We love their every touch video. We love their interview, which we'll do with you as well. And it makes my life so much easier. This is a women's soccer coach at DePaul saying we're already done with our 26s and our 27s, or they will be done. I got this text like 3 months ago. So he'll be done with his 27s in February. Does that make sense? And he is done with his 26s, which is nerve-wracking. But for women, that's how this goes. So he's asking me, when are you going to send me your best players? And I will express to him who they are by telling you to email them. And the coaches will text me, we need goalkeepers and center backs and so on and so forth. And part of the reason you have Coach Howe say to meet with you each week is I am going to be working for you over here, finding out about these things. And then finally, the coaches will text Coach Howe and I and say, hey, thanks so much for your help. They committed to us. And we will say, we never, though, directly connected the coach to the player. We just told the player what to say. We're like a dating coach. We tell you how to flirt, etc. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm going to pause here and I want to ask your mom first. Is this the type of help you'd be looking for your daughter?
I think, yeah. Yes.
And from your daughter's perspective, is this the type of help you would like?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And we do want you to be wanted because a large part of this process, despite Coach Howe wanting to help you, we do need you involved, right? We need you to talk to us. So that kind of brings me to how we operate, which I think you kind of know, but I just want to make it clear. You're going to get Coach Howe and me. And there's actually one other person who will be working for you, but you'll never meet them. They'll just help us with admin stuff. And we are going to be the ones talking to you. Now you can message me directly, but anytime you message me, I'm going to talk to Coach Howe and say, tell me what's happening so I can help with whatever we need to ask the questions of. You can message us 24/7. We want to edit all your videos. So this is lucky because Coach Howe is your coach. I'm not really worried about getting video because you will do that. Now, I want to be clear. Coach Howe has a life of his own. He has other students. He has his own family. So in a way, while he's going to help us with this, in order for us to help you to the most, I want to say to your daughter, you do need to tell us, hey, I'm nervous or I'm scared because we can't read your brain. So we need you to say to us, hey, this is a game I thought I played well in. Coach Howe may say to you after the game, please upload that to the form. If you ask Coach Howe to do it, Coach Howe is busy and sometimes it will take that much longer. Does that make sense? So we're going to teach you. It's not hard. We will do most of it for you, but we will need you to be involved. Okay, excellent. Which then brings me to your Google Drive. So you're going to get a Google Drive. Coach Howe has a Google Drive of his own, as a matter of fact, but you're going to have your own Google Drive. And this is one of our female students. And how it works is this. You're going to have a list of schools that we recommend. Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3 schools. And these tend to be, good academic schools. Then you're going to tell us your dream schools. So we know what your dream schools are. We will tell you if we think realistic or not. But regardless, we are going to email them because at the end of the day, Coach Howe and I are not the ones who are going to sign you to your 4-year contract. They're going to pick you. Our job is to make sure they think you look great and you are smart and sound great and they love you as a soccer player and as a person. We will then have a to-do list. So this is one of our female students, and we have a to-do list. On this day, she's since committed, but this is what your document will turn into. We need to email these schools. Then we need to email these schools. Then we need to get a phone call on these schools. Whatever we need to do, Coach Howe and I will keep track of it. And even though Coach Howe is your personal coach, Coach Howe, because he works for me technically, will keep track of this so I can also monitor you as well. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. And then finally, look, because of Coach Howe's confidence in you, if in the next 3 months, and mine, but and he knows you very well, if in the next 3 months you're not being more recruited than you are today by schools you actually want to go to, then I'll ask Coach Howe what the hell's going on, but I'll also give you a refund and say, hey, look, we did our job. We tried our best and it didn't work. We want this to work, of course. And then when it comes to scholarship, right now, your GPA, I had it right here, is roughly, as you put it here, a 3.4. If you can get me a 3.5, your scholarship goes up by like 20K. It's a big difference. If you get me a 3.7, it goes up by like 40K. So when I say that, it's both athletic and academic. Now, you may not, if scholarship is not our biggest concern, and the reason I mentioned that, there are some lower level schools that give more money. If it's our concern, but not our main concern, what is helpful to us is money means two different things. One of the things it means is that we want money, of course. The other reason is it means they like us. If they're willing to get us into the school with our grades and then give us academic money, it means you're going to play minutes. Does that make sense? So like my first pro contract was $900. That was the coach telling me that you're not my favorite. But he was saying to me, I like you enough to offer you some money. So that was great. That was enough for me to pick on that team. But when you pick your college team, I want them to really love you. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay. Now, in saying that, there's one more piece I wanted to share with you. You mentioned here education. Do you think you want to become a teacher, or you're not sure yet?
I would say that's like on the lower of my list right now. I'm kind of looking at being an ultrasound tech right now.
Okay, that's different. The only reason I bring it up is we will create a list of schools based off of your potential major. So like if you want to do that, there are ways to do that without 4-year programs. But if you want to do that, we're leaning towards the medical-esque field. So maybe education and biology. So when we make your list, I just want to make a note of that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Mom, does that sound good too?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. Now, Coach Howe probably mentioned this part, but if he didn't, I will re-mention it. There's 3 different ways in which to work with us. In your case, we're really only talking about 2 of the 3, in my opinion anyways. So the first model is if you really want Coach Howe to do everything for you, then we will do this model. This is where Coach Howe and myself and my team will send the emails on your behalf. We log into your email account and we send all the emails and we reply to all the emails, and you kind of sit there in a puppet-esque way and wait for us to tell you what to do next. Now, the beauty of this is it saves you a lot of time. It's obviously more expensive. And the other reason that we do like this, of course, is we can do everything faster because it's what we just sit at the computer and do it for you while you're in school and everything else. The negative of this option is your daughter won't really learn the process, which is a part of it. But the other reason is because that I'm nervous sometimes about recommending this is there's no skin in the game on your daughter's part, semi-speaking. And then also when you do get on phone calls, we've been flirting with the boy, this whole time. So when you start going on a date with them, you don't know anything about them if you don't read the emails we've gone through. Does that make sense? So it's sometimes better, and this is what kind of Coach Howe and I were talking about, where we do it together, that you'll write the emails, we'll fix the emails rather. You're the one who will push the send button, but nothing will be sent. No videos will be made without our approval first, and we will make all the videos as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a third option, which for us, I just don't think makes sense, which is where you do it by yourself and you have to basically watch our videos, and will still make your videos for you, but you're on your own in that scenario. So this is kind of the model we're talking about. Now, before we talk about which one you might like, and I already kind of told you which one I think we should do, I want to make a video for you that kind of discusses how it looks like to work with us on the first day, that Coach Howe what your Monday will look like, theoretically speaking. But before I do, I want to ask your daughter this question. Coach Howe obviously brought you to me, which makes me go like excited with the opportunity to work with you. But we don't work with that many students. And part of the reason is because it is one, we can't work with that many students. You'll be Coach Howe's like primary student, which is a benefit. Our coaches usually work with 4 to 6 kids at a time. But I do want to ask you, why do you think you are the right fit to work with us?
I just think I need a lot more help, and honestly, like the coaches I've had and asked for help, they kind of don't really care as much because they have so many other of my teammates to worry about. So like me being your primary focus would definitely help out a lot more.
Super helpful. I love hearing that. Now, to that end, one of the other things I often ask myself is when I'm working with students, and I'm glad you brought that up because when I talk to students, I try and explain that to them. Hence why Coach Howe has this kind of role is families are like, well, my coach will help me. And I go like, they will, but not like every day. And that's sometimes what it requires is this every day. Show me the email, show me the video. And they'll be like, that video's fine. Send it. And then you're like, I didn't get a response. And they're like, well, okay. And then that sucks, obviously. So, and I know that because I was playing JV soccer as a junior in high school, basically being told I would never make it. And I'm, 5'6", and nobody really believed in me. And luckily, I didn't stop. So, in saying that, I loved your example. Let me add one more piece to that. When college coaches ask you, why should you play for us, which they will one day, they will want to know, you'll say a version of, you're great, I want to help you I want you to win, etc. But the other thing I want to talk to you about is they often have girls quit when they get recruited. About 30% of girls so 3 out of 10 girls quit their freshman year. It's too hard. They miss home. They're not the best player anymore. How do I know, and one day a college coach, know that when things get difficult, when you're told you're too late or too early, or a D1 school says you're so good and a D3 school says you suck, how do I know you're not going to quit when things get difficult? Do you have an example in your life that you could give me that shows me you will persevere even in tough times?
Because my foot and things have already been difficult already with one of my coaches I've had before.
Tell me about your foot.
I had surgery last summer, and they thought I had one bone spur on the top of my foot, on my right foot, and then they realized once we got into surgery that I had 2. And then it took me it still kind of gets sore every once in a while, but yeah, basically I had surgery for 2 bone spurs. So
thank you. And how are you feeling?
now I'm good. I mean, it gets sore. Like when I went to that 190 camp, it was from, what time did it start?
Like you were playing from 8:30 to
8:30,
4.
basically. I know they're crazy,
Yeah.
those camps. No human being
So-
should play that much soccer.
So then when we got to towards the end, after like the shooting drills, like everything like that, like constantly shooting on it over and over and over and over again, and then getting to the end at the 11v11, like towards the end of the 11v11 game, like the last 10 minutes, it started kind of getting sore, but not to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to stop playing,
Super helpful. Thank you for letting me know. And that's a great example. Look, I tore my ACL. I had to have 2 surgeries on it. So the story that our elevator pitch that you can get injured and still persevere is a great one. So that's a very good one. Very well said. Mom, why do you think she's the right fit to work with us? You've known her. I've only known her 30 minutes. Why do you think she's the right fit?
I guess I'm a pretty blunt person, so I would bluntly say that I feel that you'd be damn lucky to get to work with my kid. I know that, like she said, the surgery that she had took her, there were a lot of moments that, she was out there playing. She shouldn't have been playing at that point, and the amount of pain that she was in, but the amount of drive that she had to win for her team and the desire that she just wanted to play ball. And I think then going through the surgery itself and how really it meant, like, it's a mental mind game. I'm sure that you experienced the same when you were out with your ACL, and just not being able to go out on the field and be with your teammates playing. You're just like literally in your room, and it's awful. But for her to be able to go through that and come out on the other side of that and like work her ass off to get back to where she is, I think that anybody would be lucky to be around her on the soccer field, to be able to work with her in this process. And obviously, like I said earlier, I'm very biased, but I feel like anybody would be blessed to coach her or have her as a teammate.
Amazing. I love hearing that. That's a great example. So that brings me to this final piece. I'm going to make a video that kind of talks about, like I mentioned, your first day with us. Upon showing you what it looks like on our first day, I'm going to ask your daughter, have I finally made you scare away? So you don't have to do this. And then my follow-up question is going to be to everybody, would you like to work with us? And if the answer is yes, I'll tell you what it looks like. If you go, we do, but we have questions, or we don't and we have questions, I will go over both of those. Is that a deal?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right, let me do this real quick. Hello, everybody. This video is actually for everybody that's here. So this is mainly a reminder. So Coach Hal, I'm really directing this video towards you. So we would have talked about this outside of them, but I think it's fun. They get to see what it would look like inside of our little office. So the first thing, obviously, we talked about already is video. We have to fix video. I think she can play D2, like D3 for sure, D2 for sure. D1 is potential, but not like we are for D1, to be fair, we are way behind. Now it doesn't mean we are too far behind, but there are certain schools that are done, which is crazy, I know, but that's just how women's soccer works. But by February, for most girls, they will be done. There is some room, April, May, June, July for certain schools. For D1, D2, for D2 and D3, they're typically done by July, August is typically. So we have a year basically to get to where we want to be. All right. So that brings us to the next thing. We want to start with the fall email template, which Coach Howe has done before, but I will go over that again. Then what we're going to do is we need a self-interview, which we'll talk about. Then the next thing is, self-interview. The next thing I'd like to do is, okay. Once we send this out, that will be very telling. In terms of camps, there's a couple camps that I think we need to consider given her situation. So I'll write those out that we have to go to maybe no matter what, because not to catch up, but the coaches have to see us in person. And the club we play for, while they do get exposure, they don't get exposure every day. So we may have to just go to some camps because your daughter's good, but we want to go before we go. The camp that you did, the one that you told me about, where was that one?
That was at Kearney, Nebraska.
Okay, excellent. And did they talk to afterwards? Did they have a word with you or since follow up?
Yeah, they talked to everybody individually. So
tell me what did they tell you?
There were a few other coaches too. There were like McPherson, and then there was it was like Central Community College in Nebraska too, just like some like junior colleges and like NAIA.
Okay.
And then they were just like, they said I need to get better with fitness, and then they said I need to like watch more pro games to like know when to move and where to move.
Did any of them mention what level? Did they say, we think you can play at this level?
No.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying they didn't do that their advice is not valid, but one of the things that's really obnoxious about ID camps is they have to say something to you. So it's very possible, like when they said you need to be fitter, my thoughts are you're probably pretty fit. They just had nothing else to say. So then they say something like that because they have to tell you, they have to give you some level of feedback. So I'm not saying that's not true. And if we want to work on fitness, Coach Howe and I can put a fitness package together. But what I'm more concerned about is, do they like you or do they not like you? That's what do they want to recruit you or do they not want to recruit you? That's the whole point of the camp. And what's frustrating about these camps is they will justify giving you advice to be like, hey, yeah, we gave you advice, see you next time. And we're like, that's not why we're here. We're not here to get better. We are here to see if you want me on your team. So because of that, we need to follow up with all those people with our version, which we'll draft those for you. I need to do an audit, which is where like we're going to go through field level and any other emails that you've had, and Coach Howe will do that with you, and basically go through each one and say, we need to respond with this, we need to respond with this, we need to follow up with this, so on and so forth. The next thing is, this is really important. We're going to try and force some visits. I'll go over that in a minute with Coach Howe. Then there's something else I want to show you. Oh yeah. We do want social media. You can stay on field level if you're getting genuine responses for those schools, but from now on, you always have to assume that if they didn't respond, it's because you're using a platform. So because of that, we must do everything else from now on from our own Gmail account. You will never know if this is hurting us, so we cannot risk it. And then finally is follow-up. We cannot send one email and hope that things go our way. We will have to follow up pretty often, and that will then bring us to probably around, I would say, November, which we send another kind of mass email and we learn about any showcases you might go to. And at that point, I think we'll have a better idea of where we're at, and hopefully texting with some schools and getting on a phone call or two. Okay, excellent. All right, I'm going to go into more detail with that with Coach Howe after this, but I'll leave it. I don't want to bother you guys too much with it right this second. So let me ask your daughter, have you managed to scare you away and make you want to quit so we don't have to do any of this?
No.
Okay, that was my last attempt. So now the question I have for, mom and daughter is, let's say I said to you, you have to pay us right now, which you do not, but hypothetically, what other questions might come to mind?
I don't have any questions, but I did go to a show. I am going to a showcase to Texas with my club team. Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like that's.
Do you know
one
which
thing.
showcase?
It's Texas. She goes to Texas Cup
Okay.
in November, and then there's another showcase in Kansas City. Like November is a pretty packed schedule.
Cool. So this is super helpful to me. Thank you. And guess what? Coach Howe probably knew about this. So given all of that, what we're going to do is we're going to send, I'm going to change this, a showcase email in October saying, hey, I have a showcase. So we want, this time of year, the coaches' seasons are ending. So some of them can go and some of them cannot, because some of them are still in season, which is obnoxious, of course, because that's what the point of showcase are. But video from showcases can be really helpful. But we want as many coaches as we can to know us kind of over August, September, and October. Then in October, we're going to send this email about this. And because they knew us from August, September, October, the ideal is they say to us, we can't come because we're in season, because we're winning, or our season ended, we'll see you there. And that is super important that this happens, because if we go to this without interest, it's very hard to get noticed just because you have a showcase. Otherwise, it's going to be a community college or an NAI school.
Yeah, because I also went to the ID camp at HCC.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sammy, I don't know if you know who that
Mm-hmm.
is, he talked to me after, and he said that he'd be interested in recruiting me.
Cool. So one thing, and I'll go over this with you guys, and Coach Howe will too. But in our system here, this takes a hot minute, but it's very important. You will go into your inbox and the system will fetch all your emails, and you're going to click on every email you've ever received. Now, if this is field level, we'll do it separately in a different document. But in your Gmail account from this point forward, you'll click this button. You will tell us if you think it was genuine, like HGC, you can put in their school name. If you don't find it, you can skip it. But we pretty much have every school. Then you can mention a camp date if there is one, but then you'll tell us, this coach wants me. When you do that, Coach Howe and I can then go through the system in this section and go through, what did she say about this school? Oh, she said it was a genuine. No, it's this. So then we can go into your inbox and reply to them one by one if needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So this is kind of, you can see, I think already, when I was doing the recruiting process, one of my frustrations was when I bought NCSA, which my parents did buy, this was the level of attention I wanted. Hey, go through every email. I want verbatim what to say. And they did not provide such things, even though it kind of felt like they said they would. And this is why Coach Howe will be with you. So then that's excellent. No questions from daughter so far. Let me ask your mom. Any questions that come to mind?
Well, I think that I wanted to make sure that she mentioned to you that she's going to showcases. As far as the time frame of somewhat, not a hurry, but that we're in a sense behind. I guess my concern is between the two. I guess I consider top tier, middle tier, and one that we aren't interested in. So those two tiers, Madison, as you both probably played club ball, when she gets home from school, she's only home for maybe 15 minutes. And then we're on the road headed to practice. And then she doesn't get home until about 10:15 at night, showering, going to bed, and then it's hitting repeat. So I think that in an interest for her to be able to focus on, in my opinion, what's important as far as her education and keeping her GPA and her grades in check, I think then second obviously comes to her commitment to her team and her club team and performing. My concern would be that although I completely understand and agree with you on the skin of the game in the second tier, I feel like it's already seems to be just kind of like a stressful, something that's really stressful that I feel like should also be something that I want her to have fun with in doing, and not for it to be something that is so daunting and heavy that it's like I mentally I can't focus on my club team and sports and my education and trying to sell people on why they should choose me. And so I think for that reason, it somewhat shies me away from choosing option 2. But I think that I mean, if you think that, I mean, obviously I also feel like, I mean, I'm a salesman as well. So I completely understand, like, it'd be weird if you told me, like, you don't want me to spend the $10,000 with you. I think that then I would really question you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I
I
understand.
think that, like, there has to be some kind of a difference there of like, yeah, however, you know, this first year, I think that this is really kind of really where you want to be. I've done this multiple times, kind of a thing. And then my follow-up question would be, after the first year, obviously, then it's like a big heavy pause, gulp, shirt too tight. She's going to be a senior. What happens in that senior year? Once we've hit 1 year, then what is it? Because I feel like obviously she'll be able to reach out to Coach Howe more than likely for a long time, you know, even after she's graduated and whatever. But what happens at that stage?
Very good questions. So if you choose a top model, we're with you until you're committed. So that's that piece of it. And there is no annual contract for that model because you're with Coach Howe. So that's the top model piece of it. You're with us until you're committed, however long that takes. And you also, I will add, your daughter will be committed in a year from now. Girls soccer, that is like statistically, that will be the case. So her senior year will theoretically be going on a visit to the school she's committed to and having a great time. Now, what if she gets injured or something happens? Of course, that's where the middle model tends that annual fee. So just to be clear, in regards to the annual fee with the middle tier, if after that you need our help in some capacity, you will not pay the same fee. It becomes an a la carte. If it varies somewhere between 50 to, it really depends what you need. But typically speaking, 98% of our kids don't need that. Also, I will admit, Coach Howe will, of course, be with you. So Coach Howe could pretty easily go, hey, remember that email you used to send? Resend one of those, and I wouldn't have him charge you for any of that stuff because he's coaching you club soccer and your daughter will know what those are. So if, though, you want, say, Coach Howe immediate attention like he's going to give you now, then I would say to you, it could be a monthly fee of some kind, but it won't be the same fee as it is upfront. Does that make sense? So that's that piece. Now let's talk about the other piece because that could happen, but even then I'm pretty reasonable. We would customize it and we'll figure that out. I think your other concern is what we need to address, which is, look, does require a lot of time. If we do the model, the middle one, we do need your daughter 2 to 3 hours a week for the first 3 months. That is normal. Video, self-interviews, emails, that is typical. The other one, we only need you for about maybe 30 to an hour a week. That's typically how that goes. So one option is we start with the middle tier because, as your point as a salesperson, I really want what's best for you. And if you go, this is overwhelming, well, what you're telling me to do, we will just bump you up to the top tier. And then we will just start sending emails for you. That way you can start with the quote unquote cheaper model. And then as time goes on, if your daughter's like, this is driving me nuts, you guys keep telling me to follow up here and follow up here. I don't have time. I need to sleep and eat, which is what we do want her to do. Then we will just move you to the other model. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Part of the reason for that too is, and you can think on that, let's say, or we could do vice versa if you prefer, which sometimes is easier, is actually, I take it back. We can't really do vice versa. So that's actually kind of the model that we have for that. And then if you say, then you go, and you guys will talk about it without us, without Coach Howe and I in a minute, is to your daughter's point, let's say you get your scholarship. I mean, you guys also may have a budget for school as well and for me, but let's just pretend soccer specific. If your daughter gets above a 3.5, my fees will be paid for, probably. because she's going to get a scholarship of within the 20 to 40 range, just academically speaking, not soccer wise. So then you go, okay, we spend this and we get to go to our dream school. That's a pretty good deal. And that's what we want it to be. And we want her to be happy and healthy and be able to sleep and all those things. And I got into a really bad car accident when I was in high school because I was doing all this stuff and not sleeping, etc. So another thought, just to bring this all around, is particularly with the first model, we do it in installments. So we can start, we do it for you. And if you guys are like, that's just so great, then we'll just finish it out. If you go, you know what, like we know what you're doing, we want to jump in, then we can do that. So we could vice versa, it is my point.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. One thing I want to do before I let you guys go is I want you guys to think about this, of course, and you can obviously talk about it with Coach Howe also outside of me. Coach Howe pretty much knows how we will operate in all these things. So the next question I think is this, because I want you to think about it. To your mom's point of the salesman scenario, yes, obviously the upper fee where we make more money, but the biggest thing is for both models, I want your daughter to be happy so she can go to school. Because we do it in installments, I'm pretty flexible. So my initial thought, based off what your mom said, is we do start at the top tier for the first month and we do the emails. And if your daughter says, that was really nice, because we're still going to show you what we're going to do. We still do need to meet with you. And if we say, we're about to send the following emails, just so you know, and your daughter goes, that'd be great. Thank you. And mom, you too. You go, that's great. Thank you. If after the first 2 meetings, you go, no, we could have done that, then we'll just change it. That's super easy for us. And I think that's probably just talking it out loud. That makes the most sense to me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we feel comfortable with that.
Okay. So here's the last thing. I want you guys, of course, talk about it as a group, as a family and everything else. From my perspective, to add to everything else we've talked about, because you get Coach Howe in terms of the top model, it is a very special scenario. Like I mentioned, I've never had anybody who's had a coach who gets to see them all the time, who will also get to fully help in the recruiting process, which is the dream scenario. If I could do that for all my kids, that is what I do. But I don't know how else to do it other than Coach Howe has figured it out. So that really makes this like a 10 times more bang for your buck, quote unquote. So the next question, Mom, I'd have to you is, when could you let us know if you'd like to work with us?
I think that we already know the answer. I don't think that we've really had these conversations before we got to this meeting. And I think we've already made our decision. But if you need to
my perspective is I want it to be clear to both of you guys. Coach Howe and I have already also talked about this. We are ready to rock and roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send over an email to you with the next steps. It's going to ask your daughter about your majors. I want you to put, for now, because you mentioned the med tech, you can put biology. And I want you to also put business. Business will also have education, so we can sort that out. My brother's fiance, who's getting married next week, is a teacher, and I'm sure your mom will tell you this as well. We know how much money they kind of make, and we know what their hours are like. I'm not saying you don't want to be a teacher, but there's also part of Coach House a grown up. Our job with your daughter is to, treat her as an adult, but go like, is this a life you foresee yourself in? Teaching, teaching can be great if you love kids, but also on the med tech side, what do the hours look like? We want to look all that stuff up with you while we're getting recruited. Now I have to focus on the recruitment part first, but we also want to explore when the coaches start showing interest in us. Hey, how am I going to get an internship to get this type of job? Because just because it's a great school doesn't mean you'll end up with a great job. You have to get an internship. So having said that, I'm going to send over the email to everybody. And then I'm going to let, the moment I receive the first part of it, Mom, you will get mom and daughter. You guys will both get an email from us detailing how to get us in the app. And I know you have Coach Howe's cell phone, so you are all free to message him as well. The only thing I'll say is if it's okay with you guys, I can't monitor your Coach Howe's cell phone, and I can't see what you're doing, and I want to be a part of it too because I want to help you play college soccer. So if you guys are open to it, I'd prefer if you all join our app. And inside the app, Coach Howe is available. It will be natural to want to email him, and you guys can totally do that. Totally fine with me. But in terms of keeping track of everything, we have a system for it, so we will also ask you to go there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. I will talk to you guys very soon.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have
Please.
one more question.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, don't be sorry.
How do you get her film?
Good question. So there's something I want to talk to Coach Howe about. Coach Howe, where does her film live right now?
I have a copy of what you had on field level. I have a copy of that downloaded already. But if there's longer cuts of anything, like again, because a lot of the stuff that we had on field level, I know is just from freshman year. If there's anything that's longer cuts from that, I don't have.
Okay.
I just have what we had from that freshman year.
Let me ask
Some
to.
Brady films. So
Okay, now, terms of how, or like, let's say this weekend we had a game, hypothetically. Are those being recorded?
Yeah.
And what are they recorded on?
Well, we have, there's VO, there's Trace, and then I think some of it is, I think for high school ball, some of it now is on some huddle.
Okay,
Yeah.
so good.
We have that, but I've gone through like a lot of her, Trace is what our
Mhm.
club team uses currently.
Mhm, mhm.
A lot of that stuff, like any of the highlights that pull up for Maddie and pull them in my email.
Yes. So we have
so
Trace. I have a Trace account. I can show you. I have a Trace camera. And so what you're going to do is you're going to add us as a family member. And once we're added as a family member, I will have access to your entire Trace. Then we will be able to go through the footage. We will ask your daughter, hey, if you have 100 games on there, do you remember 6 of them where you played super good? Because if we have to go through 100, it will take us a long time. So when we do the meetings with Coach Hal, hence why we do have to still meet, even in the do it for you model, we may log into your Trace account and go, which ones did you like? Then we will grab the links. We will just copy and paste them. We will put it in a form that I have, and I will start editing them because I will be editing all the videos. And Coach Hal will give me feedback on the order and whatnot. But the short answer is if you have VO, huddle, or Trace, that's my job. That's what I do every day, all day. I can take the footage. To your field level stuff, I will look at it. If I look at it and I go, there's a couple pieces, we will take it. If then we have a meeting and I'll have a set of directions for Coach Hal to go through with you and go, hey, we may have to share your screen and say, could you give us the Trace footage? Hey, which games? Okay, I like that one. I like this one. Maybe we have to watch it with you at that moment. Then we will go make the footage. So that will be our job.
Okay.
You may also, Coach Hal will have an assistant who kind of helps us with that technical stuff. So sometimes we might say, if Coach Hal is busy for a minute, hey, could you please get on a meeting with our assistant? He played college soccer also, but go, hey, we just need to collect your videos.
Okay.
That is very important to us. And that is basically one of my number one jobs. So no matter how you have the footage, I will figure it out.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. I am actually going to talk to Coach Hal right this second and get you guys started. And I'm going to send this email over to Mom, and then we will go from there. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I will talk to you very soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
thanks, ladies.
Okay, Coach, how much time do you have that I can steal from you?
Like maybe 10 minutes. I got
That's fine.
goalkeeper training.
I totally get
Yeah.
it. So I have a couple questions for you. Give me a second here. So first of all, thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Because I'd love to work with them. So thank you. We don't have you officially in our system yet because this is your first student. So we want to pay you.
I know.
That's okay. So we want to pay you. So first of all, you'll get paid. For commission for just bringing the student to us, you get $150. So you'll get that just for bringing them over. The next thing is getting paid for them, which I will also talk to you about. Obviously, when you have you have a job and coaching. So I'm not saying this money's going to feed you exactly, but
no, it's more important. Like I said before, I want to get this to the point where not just Maddie is one of my premier talents on my high school team.
Totally.
I put her in the center mid position, not for her benefit, but for the other girl's benefit. But she is so strong with the ability that she has.
I'm totally with it. So she deserves to play college soccer. So here's my next question to you. We can have somebody within my team send all the emails for you. You don't have to do that. You're busy. I can have somebody on our team literally send and write emails. The question that I need to collaborate with you is when that athlete or my coach does that, you do need to sit down with them and log in to a Gmail account and follow our system because that's how we operate. They're going to want to text you and email you. And I can't really stop them because I have a feeling the app is not as convenient, So that's okay, but I won't be able to monitor anything, which is still fine with me. I don't care. If you need any help, you can copy me on the emails or let us know, and I don't care. That's totally fine. What I'm following up with is the I'm gonna make a Loom video for you on what we need to do, and a Loom video for one of our coaches. So my short answer is this: we are going to write all the emails for her, so she doesn't have to worry about that part. The video part, you will probably have to get on a meeting with them and say to them, show me the links you're thinking about. When that happens, and I'll make a Loom video so you can see, you're going to upload it to a folder for us, which you would have done for any other student anyways, so you can learn how she submits the video. We need to spell her name right and all that annoying jazz. We will make the video. We will write the emails. Once we send out the first round, what often happens is she gets responses, for one. Number two is we have to follow up again. Anything that's a mass email, we will do for you. But when it comes to like a small things, that's when you may need to say to her, hey, this school really liked your video. And this is where I would strongly encourage you. If she sees you as the high school, because I've done this before with students who I've coached and done this. If she's like, hey, coach, can we talk about it after practice? It will never work.
No.
Right. Okay.
That's what I've told her
Okay,
before.
great.
Is like,
This is
we're at
separate.
practice. Yeah.
Okay, you're amazing. So as long as when you're at practice, you say this is just this, and then, hey, let's book a meeting on Tuesday, which brings me to, I don't know if you have a Calendly account with us. I don't think you have.
Do.
Oh,
I do.
excellent. Okay, perfect. So then you just give her that link, and then it's up to you. If you want to text her, that part's you can do whatever you want with that. I don't care. Mainly though, the reason we encourage Calendly is she may say to you, I want to talk to you today. And you'll be like, I'm busy today. Book me on my calendar.
Right.
So we're just trying to save you time. And then the only other thing I can think of, I'm just going to write this out because I know you have to go, is the only other thing I can think of is we'll make the videos. I'm talking out loud for right now. We will make the videos. I will make the videos. Another member of my team will send the email. So you won't have to do that. And this is what I'll say is you will have to, once they get responded from, probably book a meeting with them and go, hey, this is how we're going to respond to each of these emails. And let's talk about it. I will, and I can absolutely send you the AI notes. That's no problem.
I've been kicked out or something like that. So
you're good. You're good. And I can't think of anything else other than I just want to say thank you again. It's a huge, huge student, and that's it. And I have to leave in 4 minutes too. I forgot, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. See ya.
Hey, Seth. So I have a complicated scenario here. It's a great problem, but it is a bit complicated. So I'm going to write it all out, and we might have to have a meeting about this, which we haven't had to do in a while. So Coach Howe did a great job and brought us a client who wants to sign up with the 10K, which is awesome. Coach Howe wants to work with them. However, Coach Howe is busy, so he cannot provide them the 10K level of service on his own. So he's going to need an assistant. Now, this assistant, all they need to do is send out the emails on behalf of the girl. We will edit the videos. Now, Coach Howe will be able to coach the girl how to give us the videos. He'll sit down on a Zoom meeting and he will coach them how to do it. What also might happen, because Coach Howe is busy, and he wants to take this client and they only want him, which is fine, is I may need you or Nico or Julian or Hidalgo to get on a meeting with the family and just do admin video stuff. So what this means is the family, sorry, I got to do this. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. Where am I? Okay, so join family and join admin and stuff. Okay, so we may need someone to do videos. So here's what I've been picturing happening. Okay, we've started. They're gonna pay. So here's what needs to happen first. Day one is ideally, they're gonna get all these directions, and I just know the family. They're not really gonna do much, but we got to get them their videos. So day one is how I'm gonna make another video for him so he knows what to do. But how will ideally book a call and do the steps that he's supposed to on the document. And I'll go into detail about that later. Then what will happen is day two is either I will talk to Hal, we'll have a meeting with him, and this is where you come in. You have to talk to him, and I'll give you a cell phone if you need to. I think it's on his document because I texted him. So either Hal or Seth talk to him and say, either Hal or Seth talk to him and say, we're on that call. What got done? Did the videos get submitted? Question mark. Did the videos get submitted? And if he says, I need help, then you'll tell Hal, have the family book us on this link so we can help them with the video. And they have Trace, Vio, and Huddle. And so they're going to be like, we have so much footage. We don't know what to pick. They're going to act kind of stupid and dumb, which is, annoying. But basically what you're going to say on the call is you're going to say to the daughter or the mom, are there, 6 to 10 games that you think are good? And let's start there. If there's any individual clips, let us know. And then also Hal has footage from field level, which is their high school. He's their high school coach. So it's very possible if Hal is willing to do this, that would just, honestly, and that's his job, then all of this stuff goes away. But I just don't know if he'll be able to figure out, he's got to watch all the directions. He's a grown-up. I just don't think he'll do it. So I still want our results, because once we do this, we'll be done with this problem, and things will get really easy. Okay, then we're going to send the fall template. Now the question is to who? So we're going to send it to the D3 list, the D2 list, and she's not D1 level. So we can still email the D1, but email every D3 school that is on the list, every D2 school. And genuine wise, this is where typically also how on day one would say, like, what are your top schools? So we can say genuine. That's also what he would do. I have a feeling the family aren't going to be about it. So all the genuine stuff we're probably going to have to do on our end. Just say a version of this, basically like, I'm excited to watch your team this fall. Excited to watch your team this fall. I play. I think she plays striker. I forget, striker and center mid. Center mid. So I'm excited to watch their movement this year. And that sounds super genuine. Say it for every school. Done. Then the ask. She's going to say, I am working on coming to a game this fall. Which would you recommend I attend? Question mark. Now, for any of her top schools, she's supposed to say, I'm coming to a game, and I'm going to tell How this, and How's supposed to do it. And we'll see how does. If the How doesn't do good, I'll refund the family and whatever. It's not the end all be all. But How is the one who's supposed to do this stuff. But we will press send. So How may also meet with whoever else it is. Maybe he meets with Julian or Nico or Seth or you or whoever to go, hey, like, this is the emails we need to write to them. And we kind of act as his assistant. He's the doctor. We're the scribes. And that's totally fine with us. Which is then to say, where was I? Okay. So typically, like, you get paid quite a bit for this, but he's not going to get paid the full rate because we're going to be helping him so much. So for this student, let me do the math real quick. I'm giving him for closing it. And he doesn't have his Gusto set up or anything. And it's also possible that I would pay him because he doesn't really work with us that often. Okay. So he gets $85 for the student a month. And we can deal with that later. So anyways, next videos we have to make. Then what we'll do, which is kind of probably going to be our job, is I'm working on Canada. Now we have to deal with the responses. So at this point, we're going to be monitoring the Gmail, and we're just going to basically be doing it. And then we can update how and say, here's what's going on. In fact, it's his first student. He gets $65 because we're going to be doing most of the work. So responses be doing update how, and we'll just be responding for her. Then eventually what will happen is we will have to say to how, can you, you know, start booking meetings because we're getting responses. And at that point, he should not need us anymore. We might have, she's got another showcase in October. So we will probably jump back in and say, we'll do the mass email again for October, but probably between the template fall one and the October one, after that, they probably won't need us anymore. And how we'll be able to take over because they'll have so much interest and we'll be fine. So it's really 3 months of effort on our part. Then we're good to go. So that's the deal with them. And that's pretty exciting. Okay. I'm going to make another video for how I'm going to put that video also in the after lead form, and you'll have to watch all these. I know it's a little annoying, but you get paid a little bit more and 10K, and that's great for us. And we'll talk soon. $25 seniors right now. Yeah, they are. Hello, everybody. You have a lot of. I'm going into my senior year. Been to USP where they said they liked me and want to watch me live. I used to play in MLSX, but now joining UCNL team. My son is 5 and he's just starting soccer. William Cotto, what soccer academy do you recommend? Manuel Martinez, you have to book a call with us for that age. The highest level. So you want to try out for the Rapids, anybody MLS Next or ECNL affiliated, which for him will be pretty young, but they still do have it. Next question. Is there anything I should be doing? Okay, I'm going to my senior year. Have been to a USSB where they said they liked me and want to watch me live. I used to play MLS too, but now I'm joining ECNL team for this season. You need to focus on other schools besides USSB because if they don't offer you, you'll be screwed. So you should focus on some D3 and D2 programs and other D1 programs. I play NPL. I'm going to 7th grade. Do you have any tips to get to ECNL? Make a highlight video and definitely go to tryouts. Okay. Okay. I have to go. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.